measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken, we just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Sven P, Curved Fart, Pablo de la Cruz, Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, Survive the Spin, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Tiers Morgan, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, J-Mails24, Unamento, Iron26, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Troy Shuker, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links, as I say, to Patreon are below this video. But with that, I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
How's everybody doing?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you? DJ Wakes, Flat Earth Cafe, Michael R in Discord, Neil. Acquainted with any of them?
How's it going, Discord?
That well, huh?
You're doing great here. How you doing? Yeah, I'm fine. Just plugging along. Feeling a little south today, but now that the show started, I'm feeling north.
Good to know, Neil. Absolutely exhausted.
Putting a lot of work in?
Well, I had so many clips, get to a point where you want really concise summaries of every point that you've ever made, and then for whatever reason the feast of nonsense questions that Surf Daddy dug out from some random Facebook group spewed with bots and nonsense is like a little gem, because it's meant that I can convert that into endless, seemingly, because I'm tired, shorts clips. But they're too good to pass by. So yesterday I was reluctant to keep going through the list because I knew that I already had about 10 unproduced or yet to be produced shorts videos from the day before. So now here we are the day after that day when we've only done one or two. And I even extracted some good shorts material from yesterday. Can't remember what it was. I think it was about Neil deGrasse Tyson's chubby ball. I extracted out a shorts video from that as well. So yesterday's show still did yield a couple of shorts videos. And then one deck said he was tempted to put the Ether song together with the lyrics or poem, whatever you want to call it, the Ether Sensation. So rather than giving him to him, I was like, I'll just stick him into Suno myself, see what it chucks out. So I did that, and then wanted to make a thumbnail for today's show. And as I was doing it, the concept that I got going was halfway through, and I'm like, well, I'll just finish off that idea that I've had and bring it to fruition, which I did. I'll show you that. So this is the Feast of Nonsense, okay?
When his boss can't get to the big meeting, Jimmy just asks Copilot in Microsoft Outlook to catch him up.
Without protestation or procrastination and at no risk of demonetization. The ether sensation is the manifestation of the vibration when viewing libration and a perturbation and evaluation of a background radiation. When we view illumination, there is no postulation in my verbal masturbation. Because perception of the visualization of light emanation and the rotation toroidation of magnetization through vacuum evacuation. Show them Maxwellization, propagation with a motion demonstration, phase quantization via quantum induction validation. Long we view the Michelson Morley experimentation, showing consensus and vornation and liberation. With illumination, we're on vacation, I'm elevation and hypnosis, deprivation by interpretation. And that's a miniaturization of the ether explanation. If you lack in comprehension, it's because of your education. Did I mention the free power generation? Long live the ether! This declaration is not a theory, a hypothesization. Subscribe to Nathan Oakley 9 to Nathan.
Very good.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Neil from Discord.
I had to get, you know, when I go to Discord, I could hear the music.
Yeah,
in G Plus, you only hear the words.
It's got to be heavily gated either in the direction of Discord or in the direction of Meet. And I've chosen to heavily gate Meet, or heavily compress everything that goes into Meet and have noise suppression on this where you are now. So to stop the more likely culprits, the way I've decided to do that, who's more likely to be off mute causing chaos for you? Well, Discord are more likely to be off mute causing chaos. So therefore, it's better to have the heavy processing going in the direction of you in where you are now in Meet, rather than the other way around. So it means that it sees songs as just noise, but that's the only way the show can function. So you know, if you listen carefully to any show, every single person that's talking is right on the edge of a gate. So if they stop talking or talk a little bit too quietly, the chain cuts them off, gates them basically, so that there's no or less chance of feedback. Like the whole flat Earth debate concept, as it works with different hangout rooms, if you want to call them that, all functioning and passing audio back and forth to each other is a nightmare. But that's why there's certain things that you just have to sacrifice. One is that you'll get songs to play in G+. It's like, nah, the noise suppression just won't let it through. But it's only for you. In other words, by having it that way, I don't have to have it on the output that goes through OPS. So I can keep it actually quite clean on the output to my recording and subsequently live show. They share the same output. But yeah, that's why. So you go into Discord and they're more likely to therefore get a clearer signal from G+, where you're more disciplined with your mics. That's the way around. It just has to be.
Yeah, it sounds great. Discord. It sounds even better when you listen to the video, the YouTube video when it comes out.
Yeah, because that's my main priority. My main priority is, can you hear the Discord and me? Yes. Can Discord hear you and me? Yes. That's it. That's the top. That's it. Priorities solved for those aspects. And anything like you can't quite hear the audio from a song well, that's fine. But where it's all compressed and then limited, and the levels pushed into the red a little bit, then limited a bit more to bring them back to zero, so there's no clipping. It's all sort of squashed up near the top end and then shoved out to YouTube. So it's matching kind of what YouTube can get away with on a really loud advert. So if I have a really loud advert come in, it kind of matches the level of the show. Now, the intro is more of an average volume level. So when you get the intro, it's kind of a bit quieter than we are in the show when we're talking. Like our peaks are bigger than the audio's peaks when the show starts. But that means it doesn't sort of jump off the iPad or phone when you're listening to it and be abrasive when the show actually begins. But it'll generally match the average volume of what you've watched previously. But then when we start talking, we cut right through. We're loud, right? We can be heard when the show plays back. So generally speaking, I'm always quite pleased when you and Surf Daddy or whoever's a very similar volume to me. That's the only ambition, that everyone's roughly the same volume and not distorting as much as I can control it, right? I've learned, obviously, over the years that I cannot control how shit your mic is. But that's about it. I do have control of everything else. And a lot of it isn't about how shitty the person's mic is. It's actually, are they leveled up nicely with the person next to them? Because people can cope with various different distortion types because people are familiar with them, like coming through a phone, that's familiar to somebody. So it's not that abrasive. But being at a different volume definitely is. If the overall show is compressed too much, it sounds weird. Or it might pump. I don't want to explain what I mean by that, but there's various different artifacts that will happen if you get it wrong. And I've tweaked until it is what it is, right? And occasionally I'll make a minor alteration. So I'll like swap out a microphone and go, I'll just EQ that microphone a little bit better on the output where it matters. And go, it actually causes this slight inconsistency with a different part of the audio chain. Now I've EQ'd the output. So I end up with things being sort of semi-neutral, very, very little changes, a bit like a mastering engineer would do on my output. So I don't tend to change a great deal now that it's been sort of fiddled with. But I was never happy with it. For like the first 2 or 3 years, it drove me bonkers. I just wanted audio perfection and could never achieve it. Not that I've achieved perfection, but I'm when I listen back to the show, there's nothing in there that irritates me. I go, ugh, apart from you interrupting, Neil. Joking.
I was just so you answered the questions I was gonna ask. Like you developed it over the years.
Yeah, I tweaked all the audio settings. It's because you've got to have the guests be able to hear what you're saying and be able to hear what my guests are saying from G+, the panel, as we call it in quotes. They all need to be heard, and vice versa, right? Nothing worse than you in G+ hearing somebody from Discord start to talk, but for them dropping out because they've lost their connection, if what they've said is clearly heard and you don't hear it, you'd be like, this is a waste of time. I don't want to come back. I start talking, and the person in Discord can't hear what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And people used to mess me around about, I can't hear you, and you're like, I know how well my audio setup works. Get lost. You think you can pull that on me? Oh yeah, you're dropping out, are you? You're going through a tunnel, you lying shitbag. I know what that sounds like, and you're not doing that. You're just buying time. So yeah, you want things to run absolutely smoothly, and it's a fair chunk of money. Over the years, I've always bought the best internet that's available. I've tried to get the very best connection, have it well serviced. The lines that come in are always, kept an eye on, and so on and so forth. You want the show to run well.
Of course, that's your livelihood.
Yeah. Anyway, all I did all evening was shorts videos, so I've done about a dozen of them since yesterday, and the day before I'd already done about 10. So there's maybe 20 odd shorts videos that are now all members only currently. I've released 2 or 3 to the public. They actually all go out immediately on TikTok because I can't be asked to figure out how you can delay publication in TikTok. And it's like I've only got about 1,500 subscribers in there anyway. So I'm just like, I just stick it up and go, if you happen to be subscribed to me on TikTok, you're actually getting bang up to date material if you because I don't have to delay it. So it's like, just upload it. It's immediately available. In spite of the fact that I'm like, actually, I want to hold that back and delay its release on YouTube.
My wife just came the other day. She was like, how am I getting Nathan on TikTok? So I guess some video came out or a short or something. So,
yeah.
Out there, Nathan.
I just did any of the shorts stream I put on TikTok as well. Not everything, because I was doing microphones for a long time and I didn't put all of those on TikTok. They're only on YouTube to be an assistant to the eBay listing. So I didn't need to. I mean, I did put some of them on. But realistically, the microphone videos were there as a means to an end, right? They're there to flog the item. That's their purpose. Whereas when I'm publishing stuff like that song, I actually want it to go onto all the platforms that might potentially grow or bloom into something that pays me. TikTok not being that currently, but it might be one day, and you want it to have a back catalogue. So, yeah,
What's up, Len?
Hey, Len.
All good.
Yeah.
Where are you, on the moon?
Just sat down with another shite.
Thanks a bunch.
Too much information.
I think he's just being comedic. We'll tell ourselves he's just being funny.
Yeah. So I heard through the grapevine that on a flat earth debate, we no longer hold everybody to a high standard, where it used to be that, we held each other to a standard. And I find that hysterical, because if you're paying attention, we are holding people to a high standard.
Au contraire.
Look what happened with Jin recently, right?
That it's in the moment. That the word that I object to is the hold or held to a high standard. When you're here, you've used Jin. Let's immediately latch onto that. When Jin's here, right? He's in effectively my house, therefore my rules. And if you want to say there's a standard here, then yes, there is. Right? Whose standard? My standard. Now, that standard doesn't have to be held to by anybody. If you come of your own volition, you're here of your own. You're not here under duress, right? You're here of your own volition, presumably because you like being here. Same goes for people in the Discord server, right? I'm attached to it in this particular period of time. Therefore, that particular Discord server might see my pretty face and go, oh, I might join and drop a word in, and whatever. So during this particular time, yeah, there's certain, you could call them rules. It's just social etiquette in most instances. Yeah? Don't be rude. Don't talk down to other people. If somebody's trying to pass on some information, don't be standoffish about it. Hear them out first before you jump down their throat. Things like that. Basic stuff. But once you go...
That's not what they were talking about, though.
But once you go, you don't have to do anything. Jin doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to come back, does he? Doesn't have to be here. Doesn't have to not be here. When he's here, that's different. But that's like yesterday when I was talking about Brad Pitt saying, it's not the journey or the destination, it's the company you keep along the way. Well, when he's in our company, then that's for him to, do as we do. But when in Rome, as they say, that sort of goes without saying. But nobody's being held to any standard. Nobody has to do anything. I'm not in charge of anybody. I'm not your boss, am I?
That's not what they were hinting at. They were hinting at it's like somebody comes with something, it's poured over by the panel, and they're held to a freaking high standard as claim support, stuff like that. Nobody could come in here with any nonsense.
Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
One more time. Now go on, if you're enthused to ejaculate into the conversation with whatever it was, so we might as well air it. Go on, Len, don't be shy. Okie dokie. Carry on, Neil.
I think he said Jin's a lion shit or something to that effect.
Oh, sorry, it was breaking up a little bit. I'm just...
10-4, clear as mud.
Yeah, you're not coming in through. Maybe when you're done.
In regards to
I'm so glad I forced the issue, Neil.
can you not hear me?
Nah, you're breaking
No.
up.
Yeah, it was like keeping company when he's in Dewey's company. Does that mean he's going to be a liar in the chief?
He can be whatever he wants in anybody else's company except mine. Now, obviously, you may hold with whoever you like to whatever standard you want, but that's just me and my standard. You know, I can remove myself from other people's presence. In some instances, I can remove people from my presence. But ultimately, those people might still hang around, moan about you, things like that. You have no control over those things. Only your involvement is, that's it. That's your level of control. But the point Neil's making is we hold or held, if it's being described in past tense, because we're going to get knocked by the sounds of things reading between Neil's lines, to a certain standard. I'm assuming the next thing that comes is going to be, and you don't presently, or you didn't used to, or you only held a standard because of me. I don't know where this is coming from. We'll find out shortly, I'm sure. Go ahead, Neil.
Well, yeah, now they're saying that that's not happening on Flat Earth Debate anymore. So it's like a wild, wild west. But I say, wait a second. You're not paying attention if that's what you think, because we did hold people to a high standard. That's why some of them are not here anymore. All right? They were held to a very high standard. And when they showed themselves to be thieves and backstabbing bastards, they got shown the door. So we do hold a high standard here. You're going to be a scumbag, you're not going to be around. Now, as far as proof seas and things like that, Earth is measured flat. What standard do I have to hold for a measurement, Nathan? You tell me, because I'd like to know. How are you?
Good.
Salute.
Hey, everyone.
I am good, but also not so good. So I'm delighted that I'm actually doing what I consider to be my main job. This is my main job. And part of my main job is trimming up various parts of the show and producing shorts. Now, if I produce one a month, it wouldn't faze me. If I produce 10 a day, it wouldn't faze me. It's just whatever you've got to produce material with, you produce. And at the moment, I'm on fire because I've got loads of really good material. So Surf Daddy provided a list that had come from some random Facebook server. And in his own words, it was full of chat skanks and bots. And pasted this list into one of the internal discussion chats that we have. It's called Meet, formerly Skype. Anyway, I see this list. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant, that is. There's a concise list of the Feast of Nonsense questions, as we would call them, right? Now, what I would have intended, or just literally started doing, was compiling a, glossary, I suppose you'd call it, or just a list of commonly asked baller questions. Now, this isn't that. This is commonly claimed to be flat earth proof question, proof seas, whatever you want to call them, that are offered up by people who are labelled flat earthers to suggest that they're living on a flat plane more likely than not debunking a globe, right? Now, it isn't exactly what I had in mind when I wanted to make my list of commonly asked questions, but commonly held arguments is kind of even better because it's akin to my current talking points, rhetoric, whatever you want to call that, where I suggest we, if you want to call us flat earthers, have been led to a subject matter, flat earth, from roads of conspiracy. And in Neil's words, all roads of conspiracy lead you to flat earth, which is to say that there's a certain type of person, a stereotype, that comes and talks about this subject, and they'll engage in feast of nonsense subject matters, ether and silicon trees and Mandela effect, and the list goes on and on and on. But those feast of nonsense subject matters only work their way in through the people, and if it's people that are promoting flat earth not for its flat measurements but for its association with an altered timeline or a tree that was formerly rising up to heaven, or whatever it is that's being peddled. Free energy. You know, it goes on and on and on, right? Then that muddies the waters of a discussion that's irrelevant to a debate, because there isn't one, between those people I've just described and the questions we're covering on this list, and people who are very devout about Earth being spherical. Heliocentrists in origin, we call them anti-flat earthers because they love to brace against the hippies and tree huggers who talk about Earth not being spherical, as opposed to that group with their list that we're covering currently being the ones to talk about how Earth is measured flat. That group is nothing to do with the tree-hugging hippies or the anti-flat earthers, globe believers. That's a group of people called geographers and navigators and pilots. They're just dealing with Earth flat and utilising the flat Earth measurements that have charted the territory since before any of us existed. So they deal with Earth and its flat measurements separately to a group that call themselves flat earthers, who've been led to the subject by a conspiracy, via a conspiracy path to fight against people who are devout in their globe faith but don't appreciate their globe faith is based on the flat measurements used over here in the geography section. So it's nice to have a list to cover. Long story short, that's meant that I've been up till about 3 a.m. churning out members only shorts videos, admittedly also going on TikTok. So, you know, if you wanted some content before it's strictly released to the public on this particular platform, it's been the case that I don't know how to schedule TikTok videos, so I just chuck them out as soon as I've done them. But there we go. On both this and the second channel, there's now a whole bunch of new material straight off that list from Surf Daddy. And I intend to continue doing it, but I've knackered myself out making the shorts videos from the previous live shows. So to answer your question, I'm very tired, but it's because there's an absolute crap ton of members-only shorts and even music, which I'll play in a minute, that I've been generating off the back of a very, very insightful lifting of a list from a completely unrelated group. In quotes, about Flat Earth. I would assume it's titled that way somehow. I'll ask Surf Daddy. Is the group that you got that list from actually titled something to do with Flat Earth, Surf Daddy? Is he even here? He's not even here. I'm asking nobody's not here.
I got it. It's from Flat Earthers for Truth Only. It's a Facebook site. And the individual is named Autumn.
Gotcha. So as it is being peddled out as a, look how smart we are, we can show you how Neil deGrasse Tyson's talking about a chubby ball, or the distance to the geometric horizon derived from flat Earth measurements is beyond the limitations of what we see in this photo, therefore too far. All that kind of rhetoric is being pumped into that group via well-meaning. Again, just get this clear. I'm not suggesting that the people who do this are in any way evil or like shills. No, I think it's a path that's been laid in a means that makes it seem organic. So the people who wander along it are genuine people with a genuine interest in the subject, and they feel like they're well-meaning when they argue that the world's not spherical, ignoring, like the people that they're arguing with are ignoring, the fact that the Earth has to be measured flat to have that discussion and create a ball to say it isn't one. Now, they don't know that, and it took us however many years to get to the point where we can concisely summarise the Earth being measured flat and its separation from the so-called flat Earth debate. So how a well-meaning normal dude wandering around that path from his conspiracy interest into a subject of flat Earth to then be telling people how there must be a dome, etc., is that person's well-meaning, genuine interest in the subject and desire to pass that information on for genuinely good reasons. I don't see everybody as a fart sniffer, as we call them. You know, I'm sure people are genuinely well-meaning. I was one of them from that point of view. I was in no way nefarious, and in my own mind, I can't remember a point where I'm like, I must be the next guru to tell the world the Earth is flat. I just wanted a subject that was evergreen for YouTube content. So it's not like I've ever wanted to be a flat Earth guru. I mean, there's a lot of people around me that have, I can assure you of that, but that wasn't my ambition. So there we go. It's an interesting list. I will play you one of my fruits that I did develop in a moment after a little bit of chit chat about the Feast of Nonsense. Did anybody?
I want to know why you cut me off.
Oh, my bad. What did you say?
You asked me to continue what I was talking about, and then you started the show.
Oh, what? You mean before the pre-show?
No, right? But towards the end of the pre-show, when you were getting ready to start the show, I'm talking, and I asked you a question, and the show was starting.
I mean, well, that's down to me wanting to keep a tight ship in timing terms. You know, I just don't want to. I don't want to start late. I mean, it might be that my watch is off by a little bit. I mean, it's a mechanical watch, so it might be off slightly.
That's that high standard.
This watch isn't. It's not got a
But
quartz
starting the
crystal in
show
it.
on time is.
Anyway, can I play you my song? So, I've got a couple. Should I play this one that's actually released? I sent this to Mark Sargent today. So after finishing it and producing a widescreen version of it, I then sent it off to Mark Sargent. So one of the things I've done for years and years with Mark is if I come across any music that's Flat Earth related, I'll send it to him. So for that reason, in the past couple of years, I've sent him several of Wondeck's songs. Obviously, Where's the Guns, Nathan got sent to him by me. Just anything that I come across that's Flat Earth related. Because I remember him about 5 years ago, probably 10, saying, if you come across any Flat Earth music, send it to me. Here's my address. And I've done so ever since. So like I say, whether or not Mark Sargent picks up on this and does something with it, adds it to the Flat Earth playlist. I think that was the only thing he was suggesting, that he does it to the Flat Earth music playlist that he got on YouTube at the time. Whether or not he still does such a thing, I don't know, but I definitely still share the stuff with him, especially when it's my own. So this video is called The Feast of Nonsense, and I'd strung together a series of images for the thumbnails to this show. You'll see the most recent iteration of that when this show's finished. In other words, once the live show goes out, I'll take the thumbnail for today, add the show number to it, and then put it on the video once it's rendered. In other words, after live. So although this is 2540, FED show 2540, the thumbnail, if you clicked, and you'll be like, well, today's show's 2539, right? Well, no, that's yesterday's show. But after making the thumbnail, because I don't know what the show's going to be about normally, whereas in this instance, I do know exactly what the show's going to be about. I've already talked about it. It's about the Feast of Nonsense and how it's developed lots of shorts videos. So I already know exactly what today's show is going to be about because I've spent till 3 a.m. editing videos about it. So for that reason, I'd already developed yesterday's, the day before, and the day before that's thumbnail with the same theme. So I thought, well, if I make half a dozen more, I've then got a series that I can put together as a little film and then attach that to the music that I'd made for the Ether. I call it rap, but song, poem, however it started off, a set of words on a page. So that's what you're about to see. So this is called The Feast of Nonsense.
Without protestation or procrastination and at no risk of demonetization. The ether sensation is the manifestation of the vibration when viewing libration and a perturbation and evaluation of a background radiation. When we view illumination, there is no postulation in my verbal masturbation. Because perception of the visualization of light emanation and the rotation toroidation of magnetization through vacuum evacuation. Show them Maxwellization, propagation with a motion demonstration, phase quantization via quantum induction validation. Long we view the Michelson Morley experimentation, showing consensus and nation and liberation. With illumination, we're on vacation, observation and hypnosis, deprivation by interpretation. And that's a miniaturization of the ether explanation. If you lack in comprehension, it's because of your education. Did I mention the free power generation? Long live the ether! This declaration is not a theory, a hypothesization. Subscribe to Nathan Oakley 9 to Nathan.
I must have heard that about, I don't know, 30 or 40 times in the last 6 to 8 months whilst editing the book, because that made it into one of the chapters. I think the chapter title's Ether, and at the end of the chapter, I just said, I'll write a poem about this nonsense. And that was the poem. So it made it into the book. And every so often when going through the book, editing it, either myself or my wife would be reading that out. So a couple of days back, I read it to a live audience for the first time. I think previous renditions of it always been done in the recording stage of the show, in case it goes terribly wrong. But because I've said it so many times or read it off a page so many times, it reached the point where I could rattle it off, record it, which I did, and then I fed that into Suno or whatever it is, me saying it, and then that's what it spat out. So there we go. That's the Feast of Nonsense by me, Nathan Oakley, 1980. Cool,
Good, Nathan. Enjoyed that.
I got the idea from you. You said send me the Ether lyrics and I'll put it through Suno, and I thought I'll do it myself. No offense to you, but you gave me the idea.
Oh, yeah, good stuff. I jumped out just to listen on YouTube because it's a bit in and out when you listen to it on the panel. So yeah, sounded great, mate. Really, really enjoyed it. Nice one. I knew that'd sound good in a song. You know, put some music to it.
My only question is, will they understand it's sarcastic?
Doesn't matter. It's a song, so it doesn't matter. It's up for once you make stuff into the material like that, songs, artwork, it then immediately becomes the property of somebody who's listened to it, right? I can't control the interpretation of someone's ear holes. Do you know what I mean? There was another one as well.
Those in the know will know.
Well, maybe people listen to it and interpret the lyrics in the way that I wrote them, but that isn't really relevant once it becomes a song. That's not what it's for anymore, is it? You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I know what you're getting at, and I just people saying Nathan's promoting Ethan now.
No, on the contrary. Well, the song's called "The Feast of Nonsense," so if you can't read in between the lines, then you know what I mean.
Exactly.
Anyway, this is a different version, but I'm not gonna. The reason you've got the radar screen, so if you're watching this, right, you're currently going to be looking at the radar screen, and the reason is because as a placeholder for this particular Suno creation with my lyrics pumped into it and me telling it what I wanted it to output, I got a song that I was delighted with, but I'm like, well, I've got nothing to put it on as a video, so I need a placeholder. So I went through my iPad and just found a video of Clover singing something into one of my microphones. And I'm sure I was recording it at the time for whatever project she was doing for Brownies or wherever, one of her classes or something. But I hadn't used that on YouTube. And I'm like, well, that's a good enough placeholder. I'll just cut her face off and just have the microphone. You know, it's just so there's something on screen. But as soon as I did it, it ended up being the case that they censored this image. So hopefully you can see that on screen. Yes, you can. So for that reason, I'm not actually going to play it with any video. I'll just play it out with audio only, just so that this video doesn't suddenly get clamped down on because it's got my kid in it. Anyway.
Without protestation or procrastination, and at no risk of demonetization. The ether sensation is the manifestation of the vibration when viewing libration and a perturbation in the variation of a background radiation. When we view illumination, there is no postulation in my verbal masturbation, because perception of the visualization of light emanation in a rotation, toroidation, and magnetization through vacuum evacuation show the Maxwellization propagation with the motion demonstration phase quantization via quantum induction validation.
Right, you get the general idea. There's one other which I will play. I'll leave my radar screen up just while I bring it up. So that one was a possibility, and then I did one that actually did make it to a video, which you can see, but like I say, it's just been censored worse than any video I've put up on TikTok. It ended up with about 5 views, with the videos either side getting about 150, 200, 300, you know, you just watch them rise, with this one in between the two of them getting about 5 views. Anyway, this almost made it to the, you know, completed video, which I've, like I said at the start of this, sent off to Mark Sargent, the one that's actually, you'll see. This one you probably won't.
The ether sensation is the manifestation of the vibration when viewing libration and the perturbation in the variation of a background radiation when we view illumination. There is no postulation in my verbal masturbation, because perception of the visualization of light emanation in a rotation, toroidation of magnetization through vacuum evacuation, showed the Maxwellization propagation with emotion demonstration, phase quantization via quantum induction validation, where we view the Michelson.
Anyway, like I say, you get the general idea for this. So yeah, that's what I've been doing with my time. Making music and putting ether lyrics to videos so I can get them out on YouTube, along with, like I say, about 20 different shorts videos that I've currently got waiting to go out to the public. But if you are a member, you can see all of them now. By chance, if you're a TikTok subscriber, you can also get them. As I said already, I don't know how to delay the publication of them on TikTok. But if you're a member, you can get them right here. Right, so they'll come out over the next 2-3 weeks. I'll just put out maybe 1 or 2 a day. But my anticipation is there's going to be more of these. I just didn't anticipate it being such a huge amount of work. So if I look knackered and red-eyed, it's because I'm absolutely exhausted. But we will still go through a few today, maybe 2 or 3, not 10, because I don't want to do that much editing work as it's Thursday. And there's going to be a curry tomorrow. So yeah, we'll just do a couple today.
Hey Nathan, I did like all them. I did like all them versions, particularly like the second one. But like I do it sometimes on that Suno, it is quite addictive, because you put it in and you choose styles and do different things, and then you might do another version. You think, oh, I really like that as well, and it's got a different vibe. Even though it's the same lyrics, it's got like a different vibe. It makes you feel a bit differently. So, but I mean, that's what you used to get on all records, wasn't it? When you bought like a 12-inch vinyl, you'd get the original version and maybe a couple of remix versions on the B side, on the flip side. #flip side.
Nathan.
Yes.
I had to jump out to YouTube, but I see that I think Sasha's trying to catch up.
Yeah, I've got his super chat. He says, next month will be 6-7. Maybe I'll make a joke about that. Levelization of profile elevation and the miles-like direction sensation. Thank you very much for the super chat. Right, there's going to be a short interlude because I am going to have to try and find that list again in Master B. Hopefully I can find it a bit quicker today, as I know roughly where it is.
Why don't they just send it to your private messages so you know, go there and it's there?
Fine. I'm sure I can find it. No big problem. Here we go. So yesterday we got to, I think, 20, I'm going to say.
I think you started on 20, maybe. Yeah, you're around 2022.
Yeah, we got to 22.
We only did 2 yesterday.
Yeah, so now it's 23. Let's just read it out. Let's go on camera. So, photo forensics show NASA faked the Earthrise during moon landings. So this is a specific reference to Bart Sibrel, I would assume, where there's a video where it's alleged Bart Sibrel received a tape accidentally from NASA that showed them in a set putting a cardboard cutout against a window that alleges to be them in a rocket ship at high altitude just filming the ground. And with a little bit of visual magic and cardboard cutouts and changing the depth of field of the camera, they can make a circular window look like a ball earth in a sky vacuum with a Terminator line. I assume that's what it's in reference to. Who wants to talk about
were they up?
Yeah, that Bart Sibrel documentary is called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon.
Yes, so the movie is Bart Sibrel's creation called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. If you actually want to watch that documentary, which alleges to have accidentally released to Bart Sibrel footage from NASA, and he's been on many shows. Most recently that I saw was Russian Vids, formerly Russian Vids, now RV Truth. I hope he's still got the same YouTube channel name, but RV Truth had him on and interviewed him as a fellow Christian, even though Bart Sibrel's far less conspiratorial than RV. But it was an interesting discussion between the two of them. And Bart Sibrel's dislike of flat earthers kind of puts me off him a little bit. Now, back then, I kind of, maybe now, past tense, empathise with this position because I kind of pour scorn on flat earthers, which I was one of at the time, that he didn't want to be associated with. Now, given that we've identified a lot of feaster nonsense that goes alongside the subject of flat earth, where we've got the ballers and the fart sniffers and the anti-globers over here versus geography, well, he would have been bracing against this group of flat earthers. So, kind of think fair enough. Maybe I'll come back to Bart Sabrell and have another look at his work moving into the future. Shout out to Unitoxfemu. Neil, you need to grow up. Well, thank you for the super chat. Having a moan and a pop at one of the panel via the super chat. I'm in mixed feelings about that, Sasha, but thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. Also, shout outs to Unitoxfemu again. He's sent a membership. So, who is it? Leona Lynn got the membership. Thank you very much, Unitoxfemu.
Just having to think about this list.
No matter what you do, Sasha, you can't catch up. Forget it.
Great. Whatever. Go ahead, one deck.
Just on the list, like obviously you've just been discussing that, and CC explained it. This is what's going about on some Facebook, and this is the information being pushed forward. I've noticed like a lot of it on the list, like this one you've just read out. It's all really talking about like NASA's fake or space is fake, which again is nothing really to do with the measurement of the surface of Earth. And they go right round the houses to try and debunk space, where, you do it in one or two sentences regarding, if there was an area of space 10 to the minus 17, so the gas would fill it. It's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. And that's all you really need, isn't it, Nathan?
Nah, that's surplus to requirements. They're at what, Bart Sabrell? Sorry, they're alleged to be at a low Earth orbit. Yeah, you're going to need to measure a flat Earth from sea level to describe how low they are, with an altitude ascribed to this alleged sky vacuum trip to take a picture from a low Earth orbit. Yeah, Earth gets measured flat for altitude. If you're going to describe topographical deviations or elevation of aircraft, then you're describing it from a master reference known as sea level, mean sea level, specifically. Measured flat also, but that's how perpendicular altitude is ascribed to describe something in a low Earth orbit, regardless of whether or not it's violating the second law of thermodynamics by being in alleged sky vacuum, or near to the Kármán line if they're only in low Earth orbit. You'll need a height above a flat Earth for that. So as far as my concerns are with the nonsense subject matter of rocket ships and spacecraft in Narnia after traversing through the wardrobe that is the high-pressure gas, not dispersing into the area beyond the wardrobe, akin to Narnia, called outer space, their altitude is still measured off a flat Earth. Can we move on to the next one? Any more? I thought that would generate more discussion. So Bart Sabrell's
just
films,
one complaint, like a subscriber.
Say again, Sasha?
Just one complaint, like a subscriber, if I can say. Maybe that's not valid. For me, that's valid, like a good complaint, but I want to say.
You can say whatever you like. It's an open bar.
Yeah, because for example, I could leave today, now, in this moment and everything. But I don't know if that will be reaction. Maybe I will do it, in 5 minutes. I will think about that now. But the thing is this, I want to ask you, Nathan. Do you think, Nathan, that it's good that one member of your panel saying that I will never catch up whatever I do? Do you want, Nathan, that I stop to do what I'm doing?
Shut the fuck up, Sasha.
No, Neil, I'm not speaking with you. Sorry, Neil, I'm speaking with Nathan.
If you want my answer, you can do whatever you like. Same thing applies. I just said to you, you can feel free to say whatever you like. Same goes for Neil.
Yeah.
Now, while those might be incongruent with each other,
I'm asking you a question. Do you want that I stop? Do you want that I stop to do what I'm doing in your show?
Do I want you to stop what you're doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
What do you think what I'm doing?
You're asking me if it's okay for Neil to
Can
have
you
a
tell
pop
me
at
what
you?
I'm doing, Nathan, in last 5 years in your show?
What you've been doing in the last 5 years? Watching Flat Earth debate?
Yeah. And what else I'm doing?
What else are you doing? You mean in terms of your
Am I
support?
some kind of let's put me on the last place. On the last place. Put me on the last place of the Patreon. Can I be that?
Can you be the last place on the Patreon?
Yeah.
Know what that means?
That means if there are people who are Patreons, let's say there are 72 people of Patreons, can I be on 72nd place?
I don't know if that's possible. I don't see why not. I don't understand your point though, Sasha. What are you driving at?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either.
That super chats, that shits, that money, that shits, that materialism, whatever. What's that? Is that some kind of what's that? Is that a law? Is that what's that?
What are you asking me? I don't understand your question.
Yeah, I'm asking. Do you want that I stop to do that, or is this that nice? Like with people, some people exchanging something with good things, and also with materialism.
With what? Whatism? I didn't hear the word.
Materialism, like a money.
Materialism?
Yeah.
What about materialism? I didn't hear the rest of the question then. Sorry.
Like giving super chats, being membership, giving money.
What about it?
Is that okay? Is that
of course.
okay?
That's the main purpose of me being here, to earn a living, Sasha. So do I want more Patreons? Yes. Am I grateful to the Patreons I've got? Yes.
Yeah.
If that's what you're asking. Very grateful.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, my question is how I need to catch up, because, there is some kind of, I don't know, is there morality or stuff? I don't understand what is going on.
You're asking me. I haven't said those words, though. That's Neil.
I know, Nathan.
Sure. So
you could say something like this. Neil, can you please not invoke Sasha, because doesn't matter. Don't make drama.
Hold on,
Listen,
you
drama.
Hold on.
Because it's not show.
Both you stop a second, please. Hello, I've got audio. I'm trying to run a live show. Hello, trying to run a live show. Let's just answer Sasha's question. No, I can't do that. In the same way, when you joined, you asked me if you were okay to ask something or interject or moan. I can't remember how you phrased it. I was like, you can say whatever you like. It's an open bar. Now, that means you can come in and you can moan about Neil. Now, I'll put my iPad down, even though we're in the middle of the Feast of Nonsense questions. This is you wanting to do this, and I'm all for it. In the same way, Neil's wanted to moan about the thieves stealing my 5th draft for the last week or two, or however long it's been that it's been a bee in his bonnet. Now, I don't want to be so fickle. I'm answering you, Sasha.
Did I do that?
I'm answering you. He can feel free to do that, and likewise, if you want to moan about Neil, you are also free to do that. Now, Neil's not under any obligation to stay if he doesn't like you moaning about him. He can bugger off. Now, that's me saying it's inconsequential if Neil stays. From that perspective, he's under no obligation to stay. He's under no obligation to go away. He's under no obligation to not talk about something or talk about something, but same rules apply to you, which is why we're having this discussion. And I want you to feel free to be able to do that.
Sorry, but listen, but it's how to say, it's a little bit hypocritical, because if I start, for example, if I jump and say Neil is this, Neil is doing that, or whatever, and it should not be Neil even. You will let me that I speak. Leave Sasha to speak whatever he wants. No, you will not. You will say I don't speak about people. We don't want whatever. I am the part of what I did. This was the 66 months. That means let's write something, because I have dear Nathan. This is normal thing. You're doing You're putting the super chat, that membership chat, what you have every 1 month. I'm sometimes writing some shit. Sometimes you wrote and said, I don't know what Sasha said. I don't know even. I wanted to joke, whatever, And I'm here, And now I need to catch up, because he has some kind of morality. I didn't do anything. I didn't steal the book. I didn't do anything. That's between your friends. You remember that story, friends and shits? And whatever, and
But
Neil,
I'm not
I said,
saying
don't
you
put
should or
name.
shouldn't.
Don't.
I'm not putting any
I
burden
know.
on you. I'm not
I
doing
said
that.
my opinion. I said everything.
gotcha.
Do you want to repeat about that? Yeah, they said everything. There was only one book. I know only about one book. Understand me?
But I haven't got a beef with you. I've not got issue. My issue.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm trying to respond to you, Sasha. I'm trying to respond to you. Okay.
Sorry.
I haven't got a beef with you. I've got no issue with you being here or anybody. It's an open bar. The door's open, right? For the majority of the show, it's the scumbags that have come in because there's been an open door policy. So you end up with scummy people coming in who dislike the outcome and then report me to social services and things that are much worse than Neil calling you a few names, right? So let's just put that into context for a second. Now, if you're saying, what are you going to jeopardize my money? Yes. If you don't like someone else having their opinion because it's incongruent with whatever you want to do, or in this case, Neil doesn't like you because you're supporting people who've stolen from me. That's the bottom line. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be here.
That's strong word.
I'm still answering you, Sasha. I'm still answering you. I'm not saying you shouldn't be here.
I cannot. I must interrupt you. Sorry, Nathan.
Third attempt.
Okay, sorry.
You've asked me and I'm trying to answer you. I'm not saying you should be here or shouldn't be here. When you support the show, I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to extend my sincere gratitude to all who support me. But that will not compromise what the show is. So if someone comes along and says, for example, unless you do this on your show, I won't do this for you. That never works on me. Yeah? It doesn't work like that. You're like, oh, right, because you've supported me financially, you think that means you have some control over me? No. I'm still grateful.
I never thought about that. Never had that expression. Never had that opinion.
You just said it, Sasha. Are you kidding me? You don't hear the words that come out of your own mouth? You basically asked Nathan to tell me to shut the fuck up.
I will
That's
occasionally.
Man, what are you? No, don't use that bad word because I will start to swear. Also, it's not nice, Neil. Stop it. Stop it, please.
I forgot. They got a picture you gave them on the wall.
Stop it,
Okay,
please.
I'm nearly there. I'm nearly there, both of you. Right. The point here is, Sasha, right? I could empathise with Neil's plight because Neil's plight's my plight. Now, my indifference to my own plight in this regard means that I can be indifferent to the support you offer to others and still be grateful for the support you offer me in isolation. But that won't change the format of the show. I'll listen once to what someone's got to say. If they continue to repeat the same thing, then I will tell them to shut up. But I generally, if you go back even when it's complete scumbags, will listen to what they've got to say. Once. I'll let them get to the end. I'll keep people off them if they're opposing us. So they get out what they've got to say once. So everyone gets to hear the issue laid on the table. Now, from that point, there's a good chance that in rebuttal, perceived to be so, it's not so much the case now. There is no rebuttal. There's no debate. But when there was a perception that there was a rebuttal to come, there's a good chance that person who's had the airwaves cleared for the point to be made by them will get annoyed and start interrupting the rebuttal almost immediately. In which case, yeah, you do have to tell guests to shut up. But in this instance, Neil's disdain is something that's tolerable. Your support of people who've stolen from me, as far as I am concerned, is tolerable because my indifference to what they do, in this case, let's call it get supported by yourself, is inconsequential to me and what I do. The only connection that's still there is the fact that there's a chapter in the book that's about to come out about this event. Now, Neil has a certain amount of disdain for this event, which is 8 months old. It's already been turned into a chapter in a book that's yet to be released. So my disdain's 8 months old. It's very old hat for me. But Neil's disdain is fresh for whatever reason. I won't speak for Neil.
Okay, I'm not saying that what I did, it was like a good thing or whatever, but that was nothing comparing. Like I was not. That was strong words that I stopped to go there. I was that 2 times there. Even Neil is more there than me. Doesn't matter. I don't. How to say? I don't support them anymore. I don't want to hear them anymore.
Okay, good. All right, it's over then, Sasha.
Neil, if you
Fine.
want to, I don't know. That day was that day, you know, what I did,
Okay,
you know,
Sasha.
and it
Sasha,
was
hold
that,
on.
and I did that
happen
for
to
the
like you,
guy. I
Sasha.
explained it
Sasha,
to you.
slow down.
Can I finish? Can I finish
Slow
only
down,
two
Sasha.
sentences?
Yeah, just let him get
Only
to the
to
end.
finish 2 sentences.
Go ahead,
Only,
Sasha.
and I told you that was on the chat. That was one guy, and he was like saying, Sasha, you are here now or something. He was teasing me, and I for my purpose sending all that super chat, you know, saying what the fuck, and fucking, you know, some money, give it, let's give it to them, you know, something like that. But it was nothing to like, oh, I'm supporting them because of QE. There is one book. It was Nathan Booker. I know all of that. I know all the story. I story about others.
Okay, we got all that.
How we will edit.
Is there anything else?
Blah blah blah. Yeah,
we got all that.
Sorry.
No worries. Go ahead, Neil.
Okay, so let's move forward. I won't harass you no more. You say you don't go there no more? That's fine.
Just for clarity, do whatever you like. If you're watching me say these words, you do whatever you like, right? Now, when you're in my company, you might get scorned if you've associated with thieves. That's in the here and now, right? Now, there are certain people who have associated with people who've stolen from me that will get the exact same treatment if they're directly affiliated or party to the theft of my material. You know, I will call you a whore of Satan if you've associated yourself with someone who's stolen from me. Now, there's going to be people out there that don't like that. I've already heard that there's some people who actually oppose this. They're also our enemies that have suddenly lifted up their frilly little frock and gone, woo! Very amusing.
But Nathan, listen,
Yes.
this is hypocrisy. I'm not like this, but let's say that I am the company, Amazon, biggest company, and I'm supporting you like with what 2 billion pounds. But I'm supporting the thieves of you with 1,000 pounds. And then you will say, oh, this fucking Amazon is satanic because he's supporting with 2 billion pounds, but they're supporting with that 1,000 pounds.
Uh-oh.
I don't really understand the analogy. Amazon's
but
not supporting
people
me.
doing that, you know, they're supporting this and that, and I'm not that. I'm not that shit, you know.
This podcast is
I'm
not brought to you by...
I left that fucking server. I'm not with them. It was also, you said friend, it was also, it touched me. I don't know how much touched Neil, it touched me, but it doesn't matter, you know. That shit.
No, we do need to talk this through. So show us on the doll.
If I want to talk, I will talk privately with you.
You can show us on the doll where he touched you.
Yeah. yeah, touch me, touch me. It touched
Sasha,
me.
I won't break your chops no more, Sasha.
It touched me in a sense of all this flat earth, let's say, community. Can I say it like that?
You can say whatever you like. Just don't repeat yourself.
Yeah, you had the Jaron story drama, this story drama, this witty drama, 24/7. You can name it. People want to. The QE is making shows about them, who they are. You know, drama, and it's all about why I'm here because. So it's sea level, and that's it.
Okie dokie.
That's why I'm here.
But yeah, most people don't give a toss about my plight, Sasha, and I'm very grateful that you do. But there's no obligation to. But likewise, as you asked specifically about it, you don't have to support me financially, right? That's not something that's you're obliged to do. And by the same token, if you were like, well, either do this or I'll retract my financial support, you're like, do what you feel is the best thing to do, right? I'm grateful that people support me financially. I'm grateful when I was offered help editing my book. Obviously, if you then turn around and steal from me, I'm going to be a little bit peeved. That's natural, right? But, you know, I'll accept support where people offer it. And support doesn't always come in the form of financial support. And it doesn't come when they steal from you necessarily in terms of people actually taking money from you either. But that's just life, you know. Like I say, the reason you and Neil have had a head-to-head butting, or however you want to describe it, is because of this disdain that is long, deep-seated, let's just say, for a lot of the panel. Now, because I'm pretty fickle, which is to say that you're not obliged to come in the bar. You don't have to come in. No, you don't have to buy drinks. That's to say financially support me by giving me money for whatever it is that you see as the product on offer when you support me financially. me being able to do it, I obviously need to pay the mortgage and people support me financially so I can continue to make the show. So I get it, but nobody's under any obligation. You can come and watch the show for free. The people who absolutely despise me will only watch the show for free and they're not going to offer any financial support whatsoever. Chances are they're going to skip every ad that comes in front of them. So from that point of view, nobody's under any obligation to be here, to not be here, to talk about something, to not talk about something. I can't force anybody's hand in that regard. I can only choose the company I keep. That's it. And hold standards while I'm in this space, which I run. Now, there's rules and regs that YouTube hold over me, as opposed to Amazon in your comparative example. But those rules will be adhered to, and most of the rules hinge around societal common decency anyway. Like their common sense, in spite of some people objecting to them because of the perception of censorship. The only censorship is when they censor you. That's to say, preclude others from seeing your stuff. That happens too, but I'm grateful that I'm capable of doing what I do, right? Now, even in the dramatic circumstances of being betrayed, that's still cause for making content. And there's going to be people who want to discuss it, people who want to rub it in, people who want to antagonise other members of the panel because of some wrongdoing against me, against other panel members. That's life, right? That's people and events around people. Very low brow, but very engaging.
Then can I try with because I did it in the past. I did it the conflict resolution. Neil, listen to me. Whatever I did, I don't know how I can now be again human. But can you leave me without that drama, because I don't want to be part of that drama. I'm not part of that. I'm not that guy.
What's that, Neil?
That's it.
He says 20 lashings and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I already said, fine, Sasha.
Okay,
No
that's all right. Yeah. Just I because it's easy to fight, man. Relax. Everything with me. It's really chilly.
Well, don't you think that shocked the shit out of me when I seen Sasha over there?
Not only you, a lot of them.
All right.
This is a live
we're
show,
good.
guys.
Again,
this is like tuning into the news and the presenters are arguing with each other.
When that happened? 6 months ago that happened, I think. When that happened?
Well, if the one anchor's had an affair with the other anchor's husband, that's going to make it to air.
All right, come on.
Nathan,
we put it under
when
the
that
rug.
happened, that night, that stalling book, that where the drama started, 6 months ago?
8 months ago. Strictly speaking, 2 years ago.
Yeah, but that's what came out, let's say, for all of us.
I don't know what you're asking. When did the drama... the drama's still happening.
Exactly,
yeah, I know,
Nathan.
When I remember the time when Adam started to say, and I didn't understand shit because he had somebody stole computer, there was robbery, something. It was like, what is happening, or something like. It was like, oh really? It happened to you that somebody stole your computer, or something like that.
Well, there's actually been a break in that case. Apparently, the getaway car had the number plate Globe 1. Police are looking into it.
But
I thought you had some serious news.
That was like a month ago. From that day, when they started that shit, I didn't go there anymore.
Anyway, any more on this? Fun.
Now you're contradicting yourself. Hold on a second. Now you're contradicting yourself. You said you didn't go there. You were there 4 or 5 times since that started. That's why we're having this argument.
Maybe, yeah.
Because you were
4 or 5
super chatting
times.
them.
I was 10, 15 minutes there and to see what people are saying and go out. That I'm saying. I'm not. I was there for 4 or 5 hours every day, every time, and he's there. Do you understand me? Every time.
Like a wife grilling the husband. You were with that whore. You were with her. Got photos.
This could all be. Listen, this could all be passed over. You have to do one thing, Sasha.
I was not there. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Wait.
I'm sorry.
Sasha, let me finish. You got to do one thing. You got to get that picture back from QE, and then all is forgiven.
You don't have to do anything. Right, let's move on.
No, that was that time when I thought that everything is.
I'm only
I don't know.
kidding.
That means that Nathan should to be sorrow for the past. You cannot change the past, man. And past was QE was good in the past. How to say? If Nathan was friend of him, do you understand what you're saying? You cannot change the past. Now it doesn't matter anymore.
I think there's a chapter about all this in the book. Anyway, when the book comes out, we can all have a good read of that.
Read all about this
chapter.
in the chapter named Betrayal. Read all about it in my upcoming book. Anyway, we're going to move on. So we're going to move on to this. So we've only done 2 of the 60 Feast of Nonsense questions. But nevertheless, it's in keeping with the last question. So, more than one light source during the moon landing footage. So this follows on from the suggestion that there is a bit of finagling with the imagery from a round window in the shuttle at low Earth orbit, measured off sea level, flat Earth prerequisites in tow. And now we've got, well, when they were on the moon, having traversed through a sky vacuum in an orbital motion, derived from flat Earth prerequisites also, scaled by Huygens, assuming that Venus has the same flat Earth measured radial value, to give us a distance, to suggest that they can put in motion something that derives its values from the centre of hell in a mathematical convention derived from flat Earth measurements to get them there. Once they arrive, having traversed the high-pressure gas we're all breathing, entering a volume that the gas we're breathing at high pressure isn't dispersing into, in violation of the second law, they land, and then there's more than one light source. Yeah, it's on a set. That's not the most obvious tell that it's on a set. The most obvious tell for the moon landing being shite, stop-motion 60s garbage animation with a bit of real footage filmed on a soundstage is the backdrop. So the backdrop is the thing that gives it away. The fact that it's obviously painted canvas or rear projection in some instances. Now, they show you the guy, I can't remember the other guy, Collins or whichever one of them was the photorealistic artist, painting pictures of the moon and then showing that there was a rail system around the painting so that they could film it. You're like, what? Like to do the stop motion animation of the landing? So they'll literally show you every technique that they used to produce the footage. They just lay it all out there. It's blatant. Now, the reality is, this is a story that takes place in Narnia. If you want to believe that you can go through the wardrobe, traversing the high-pressure gas we're all breathing, and enter a fantasy land, then that's up to you. Meanwhile, any ballistic trajectories or measurements of altitude will be taken with respect to the actual measurements of Earth, and they're flat. So there's an incongruence with the claimed trajectory they'd have to take in an orbital motion when you juxtapose how that mathematical inference of a path to take comes from its origins in flat Earth measurements. When you understand that you can't violate the base principle measurement of the surface level to give you altitudes and orbital motions, when the orbital motions and what distance is to a moon, actually a flat Earth altitude, and derivation in an orbital motion scaled by Huygens, requires you violate the base principle of the measurements you're taking to create things like the radial values to put them into an orbital motion. You can't get to a radial value spherical that they've made by inference and calculation unless you measure Earth flat to get it, which means that you're violating the base measurement of Earth and its flat surface to create the system called orbit and get a distance to the moon by way of Huygens scaling it with the transit of Venus, after assuming its, Venus, has the same radial value by pure assumption as Earth's flat measurement of a radial value. So all of those assumptions in tow invalidate any of the trajectories that are suggested to take them to the moon. So before you get to the point where you can start analysing the stage show that it obviously is, the performance that it obviously is, you've got to understand why they definitely didn't traverse a sky vacuum and enter what is suggested to be a place to land. The moon's not a place to land, it's a light in the sky. That's to suggest that you've traversed the actual land, the terra firma we stand on, into the sky where there's more land. The land's on the ground. The lights in the sky are in the sky. There's no land in the sky. This is a nonsense notion. They can debunk it based on the suggestion that you can get to a light that's land when the land's beneath you. Requires you measure the land beneath you flat, and then immediately violate it by calculation into orbital motion and scale with Huygens assumptions. Hence, it's all nonsense. Clearly and obviously nonsense, without you having to necessarily debunk the stage show, which in most of what I've just said I haven't. Other than pointing out there's an obvious backdrop and it's obvious 70s stop motion animation. I say 70s, even though you could say, well, surely you'd call it 60s. NASA are generally ahead of the curve. What we got from 70s animators wasn't cutting edge when they were using it for our indulgement, because it was used on the cutting edge by people like NASA in the 60s. So what you see in terms of how movies are produced for NASA now will be relatable in 10 years from now in what we get at the cinema. That's how it works. NASA are on the cutting edge of cinematography. Not space travel. Space is Narnia. Anybody else got anything to add on the lights being at different angles in the stage show known as the moon landing? Anyone want to add anything to that?
I'll just add, you talked about the pressure that we breathe, that pressure that we breathe. Yeah, the starting point for measuring that pressure is sea level also, and it's measured horizontally at different altitudes above the zero reference measurements we call mean sea level.
Mm-hmm. No matter where you go, there's a flat Earth.
Godzilla says, member for 64 months. In 64 months, I've learnt Neil is always watching. Thank you for the super chat, Godzilla 37.
Me and God have this joke going on for a long time. He's been in and out of the chat, but he's been around for a long time. And that was the joke. I'd be saying, God, I'm watching you.
Okay, we've got time for one more. The United Nations logo is an azimuthal, equidistant, North Pole-centric globe projection. Who wants to have that?
Does it work?
I mean, yeah. Works in certain aspects. It's incorrect. It's not accurate in terms of its layout. So one of the very early things we did on this channel was track the sun on a flat Earth live. And one of the inconsistencies we demonstrated a couple of times was that the solar zenith of the sun, as according to the time designation on the azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection, also used for the UN logo, map, flag, whatever, was out by about an hour in certain locations at the... when did we do it? The equinox? I think we did it so long ago, I can't even remember when we did it now. Anyway, we showed that it didn't match, so the sun was not above the land it suggested it would be above at the given time that the map said it would be there. Very disappointing, because at the time we were trying to confirm that that was an accurate depiction of the world beneath our feet. It's not. It's an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection. The globe being derived from flat Earth prerequisite elevation angle measurements to the sun and Polaris, vernal equinox being the only day that it functions to create the globe, to project it in an azimuthal equidistant North Pole-centric globe projection, otherwise known as the AE or Gleason's as it is map. Nevertheless, it's not accurate. It's pretty good though, it's not bad. You know, it works in the functionality that it suggests it should be worked. And
does it work in the south?
Say again?
Does it work in the south?
As in opposite to north horizontally? I don't know, it doesn't match with what I've checked so far. Beyond that, I don't care. It's like once you found out it's an inaccurate representation of the world, what else matters? It's kind of inconsequential. It's wrong. You want it to be more wrong? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, but there's people that will not give that map up.
Oh, whoever was crackling. Len.
How many map projections are there? There's quite a few, and are any accurate? They're all
No, again, there's a section on this on my upcoming book in a chapter called The Offing, where I go into the expansion of the known territories beyond the horizon and the expansion of the known worlds, and how governments and kings, queens, whoever it is that's authorising the cartography, will gerrymander and propagandise these maps for their own ends. So, unfortunately, the mapping process and the cartography process is, generally speaking, open to manipulation by people who benefit in a power capacity from distorting certain land masses. And there's various other aspects of moving people around the territories, essentially as slaves, to do certain tasks, right? Work. So to incentivize individuals to do that of their own volition, they can use maps to propagandize people in that way. There's all sorts of things more familiar to people who've gone through the education system in the Western world will be gerrymandering, moving borders in terms of getting different voting outcomes. That's a more modern version of a similar sort of thing. But are there any accurate maps? No, not to my knowledge. What we did was expand the known territories with axiomatic flat earth principles like elevation angles and horizontal azimuth and directionality with degrees from north. So with these flat earth prerequisites in tow, you can see that the maps, this is something that you can say with certainty, went from quite basic with a limited amount of land and expanded out in terms of the amount of territory that we know the world has got. Now, while we're talking previously about going to the soil in the sky that the moon, the light that we've got is supposed to be, that in known history has never been the case in terms of the expansion of the actual known territories that we have mapped and charted. In every single instance, they were always found, as is the chapter of my book, beyond the offing, aka the horizon, the lands beyond your visual experience. That's how we expanded the maps, as I say, from the most early that I know of, which is the Mappa Mundi in Hereford Cathedral, basic map, expanded out to what we now know today as the known territories. Every single one found by a man being able to go out to an area that he didn't know what was there and find his way back by use of celestial navigation, elevation angles and directionality in the horizontal with north, south, east and west. I can't wait to flog my book in earnest. Right at the moment I'm just warming up, going, that's in the chapter known as the offing. It'll be nice when I can actually point to a link below. And I can feel it, it's coming, it's really close. But I can't wait to actually, like I say, actually do that in sincerity. I'm doing it on my own show. It'll be a lot more interesting when I'm chatting to somebody else, a third party, hopefully with a light to plugging my book. But I find a weaselly way to get it in when someone starts talking about the expansion of the territories. I'm like, in my book.
Yeah, there was somebody in chat asking what's the story with it. I just told him it's in the publisher's hands right now.
It came back to me temporarily over the weekend. So on Friday, I was asked, I was set a date for this coming Friday. I think what are we on now? 25th, yeah, 22nd. So the idea was that I would do the final sign off on the 22nd. And then the idea being that it'd take about another week and actually get published by the end of the month. Now, I didn't actually say that when I was told that about 2 weeks ago. I just kept saying a couple more weeks. But the sign off that could have been was last Friday, but I ended up making alterations. As I anticipate I've caused a little bit more of a delay, but I wanted to incorporate a specific aspect of a recent debate point because of the map reading company, Wayne. So not only did I weasel in the fact that it'd been about the 33rd copyright strike that I'd received in 12 years from scumbags that just don't like you and would rather see your channel with 9 million views be put in jeopardy because a video with 800 views has got their ugly mug on it. Therefore, they've got a little weaselly way of saying, I'm going to have your channel or put it in jeopardy when I use this to feed my kids. That didn't necessarily get such an elaborate description. I just described how it was a copyright strike received and then a discussion after the fact. Once I've then relinquished that problem caused by this individual, suddenly there's a suggestion that I should be discussing flat earth subjects like the wrong direction fallacy, which is to suggest that a vertical orientation gives you north as the top of something. No, it doesn't. North's not up. North is horizontal. You describe in horizontal degrees north, so you can give azimuth or degree directions from north for north, south, east and west in a horizontal orientation. That's what north is. Now, to suggest otherwise is to utilise something that's actually got a name, the wrong direction fallacy, But I wanted to incorporate that because it tied the story together quite nicely. Because I wanted to explain what's the point of having a molten iron core that suggests that we've got a north-south orientated magnetic field inside a ball. Well, it's a way of distracting, red herring, away from the actual practical use of the magnetic field when we navigate with it. Flat. So if you can start talking about whether or not the core is self-perpetuating, whether or not we've dug deep enough to know what's in the core, whether or not the flat Earth prerequisite measurements in seismological terminology, that's P waves and S waves, are giving us a globe depth to the molten iron core that self-perpetuates, that gives us the vertically orientated magnetic field. It's not. It's a flat Earth prerequisite that's been used to expand the territories. Not to go to the frickin' moon, to expand out the territories beyond the offing. So I wanted to tie the use by Wayne of the wrong direction fallacy to the need to even have a molten iron core in the rhetoric of heliocentrism. What you need to do is distract from the flat Earth prerequisite directionality afforded you by magnetic field lines and suggest that generally, according to, quote, Wayne, North's at the top. No, it's not. So that worked its way into the book. So by divine intervention, by providence, whatever you want to call it, at the point that I'm getting the book back to do the final sign-off from the publisher, I'm going, well, it's here in a Word document. I mean, what's stopping me adding this? So I did. And then it took me all weekend.
See, that's what you don't realize when you're going to do a little something and being around the editing process for a while. It's a lot of work writing a book. It's a lot of work working out a paragraph.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
I know it says it's not wise to determine a matter only here on one side, but that don't pertain to this. But yeah, I'm good. I'll call Sasha on the side and have a little chat with him, but he's fine.
Okay, jolly good.
I got Roger Ledwell challenging me.
Oh, yeah. About what?
The whole book scenario. What is he challenging me on? What do you want to challenge me on, Roger? Really? You said what you said. You put it on video. You don't see what the big fuss is about. You're freaking you and LVA Paul over there having your little conversations. Stay over there. That's all.
Alrighty. I mean, the same would apply to Roger if he came on now, like Sasha. I'd be like, you can say whatever you like.
I told him to come on. I said, why don't you and LVA Paul come over here? You know how to get on. Come over here and tell us all about it.
Just got to make that disclaimer now again. Yeah, LVA Paul and Roger Ledwell, you're under absolutely no obligation to do anything. Come if you want to. Don't come if you don't want to. Talk about whatever you like.
Okay, Nathan, you run a show, right? The door's open.
Yes.
So why would they know I'm here every day. Why would I want to go somewhere else when I'm sitting right here? If you're challenging, if somebody challenges me, they do what Sasha just did. Okay? And we freaking put it under the rug and we move forward. Don't freaking put it out in some YouTube where I got to get a message from somebody that you're challenging me. On what? Get your ass in here if you want to challenge me, buddy.
Alrighty. Well, I'm glad everyone's getting on so swimmingly. It's good to hear. How are you, Eli?
Hey, just wondering what I missed.
We've been covering the Feast of Nonsense questions. I've trimmed them all out in shorts videos. You'll see them coming out if you're subscribed.
Eli, I must say, this icon, you're looking very white.
What is it about you? You can't do that either. It's only other black men that can criticize other black men about how black they are. You can't do that. Only we can do
half
that.
Black.
Only we can do that.
Hold on a second. I'm Sicilian. All right,
It's
somewhere
not black,
along
right?
the line.
You're offending me and my black heritage, right? You're not black. Only myself and Eli are black. Only we can do this.
My icon is so gangster. That's not true.
That's definitely not gangster.
It's definitely not gangster.
Is Neil black from the waist down?
Me? My dad was black.
Neil said he was half black, so like from the waist down. Is that what he's saying?
When I say half, it doesn't mean I'm 50% as in from the waist down or waist up. Yeah? I'm not a mermaid. Although I do have a beautiful golden tail and scales. But that's not the point.
It's the black
That would be
transgender
merman.
Jewish merman.
I think you're thinking of Aquaman.
Got it.
I was hoping, you know, in my own mind, I was saying it'd be great if the book would be available for purchase on my birthday, May 23rd, and that's not going to happen. Great.
Well, at least everyone knows when your birthday is. A couple of days, huh?
Everybody knows my birthday.
Neil was that so someone can buy you it for a gift. So now you're pissed you're going to have to buy it yourself.
Oh, yeah, that's
Maybe
that guy.
it'll be available. Maybe it'll be available for purchase for my birthday.
Which is?
The 9th.
You got a better shot at yours than mine.
Neil, don't forget the tradition. Whoever birthday it is needs to buy the cream cakes.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's been a tradition here for years.
But now it's the king, right?
What?
Just have to buy cakes if it's your birthday. I was explaining this to my daughters. So one of them was asking about the birthday cake that she got. And I was saying, you do realise when you get past about 16, when you start working, there is an expectation when you go into work on your birthday that you bring the cake. She's like, no, I get the cake bought for me. I'm like, why? who are those people to you? You bring the cake in, and then people like you because you bring cake in on your birthday.
Yeah, really weird.
I don't know where you skip that in the UK. It's not done that way here.
It is done that way here.
When it's your birthday, they have a cake for you.
Who?
If they like you.
If they like you.
Right, Neil, they have cake. They have a little bump. You know what I mean?
What?
Well, Eli hangs out with all the girls, so what'd you say, Eli? Say that nice and clear.
I said, you know, they bring a little cake, they give you a little bump.
Oh, they give you a little something.
I thought you would understand the terminology, Neil.
I do.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind.
What, you swap cream cakes for buns in ovens?
Boom, boom.
Birthday tradition is sorry.
Go ahead, Len.
Another birthday tradition in the UK is birthday bumps, but you'll end up with a sore ass at 61. Neil. Basically, you get a kick up the arse every year you've been alive.
Yeah, next Tuesday.
Absolutely next Tuesday, as far as I was
concerned.
concerned.
We get the mood translators?
I think he was talking about getting birthday bumps, which is similar to like the idea of birthday beats. So if you went in and it was your birthday on a school day, then everyone would pile on you. And they'd be like, pile on! Birthday beats.
We used to punch people in the arm.
We're talking about a little white line.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Yes, we were. That was the joke.
Yeah, that was your joke, but he's talking about reality now. So yeah, when you were growing up and going to school and it was your birthday, like you got punched in the arm for as old as you were and one for good luck. So if you turned 11, you were getting punched 11 times, and then the strongest guy would give you the good luck punch on the arm.
Nothing like a really big bruise to wish you good luck on your birthday.
I never understood it.
As you were talking specifically about Roger Ledwell on, I'm going to say yesterday's show, there was a specific part about Roger Ledwell that I trimmed out into a short because I found it useful, not specifically because it was about Roger Ledwell, but more because it directly tied to why I was selling microphones. So that's not really an answered question. I know nobody's asking, but it came up because I'd sent out microphones to Roger Ledwell. Therefore, it turned into something that could be explained to somebody who might come along 6 months from now and go, why is there a load of microphone videos on your channel? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So for that reason, I trimmed it out into a shorts video, and this is that. No, that makes no sense unless you're a moron being gaslit by somebody who's taking great delight in just how stupid you are. Wow. Thank you so much, Roger Ledwell. I'm really glad that I supported you in sending out microphones and chasing them to my financial detriment and time detriment. I only had microphones to sell because I wasn't publishing a book because I've been told by two thieves not to. So as a consequence of being delayed by two people saying, don't publish, we will help you make this book better. The one that they've now got their names on, the one that they stole. That's why I had microphones, Roger. Because I had to mitigate for not publishing a book I was suggested to retract from the shelves while it was improved. Sorry, I forgot to introduce the gaslighting of that circumstance being me sat in a room while a second book, lining the pockets of two thieving bastards, was what I wanted to do with my time. No, that makes no sense unless you're a moron being gaslit. There you go.
Very good.
Yeah, the only reason I ended up flogging microphones was because the book didn't come out. So I'm like, well, the only reason the book's supposed to be coming out is to keep me in money to pay the mortgage. So if the book's not going to come out because QE and Adam have suggested that they need to help me make it better, it's just not good enough, I'm being told. It needs to be improved. This represents us as well. Therefore, it needs to be of a higher standard. Don't publish. We'll help you make it better. Okay. Well, then I still got to pay the fucking mortgage, though, haven't I? I need to do something else then. So I guess I'll start buying and selling on eBay, and I'll find something I can make videos about, I guess. So microphones happened to be something I was vaguely interested in and knew I could turn a profit on. So I started flogging them while we worked on the book. So 12 months later, I was still flogging microphones, and every month was another month that I was saying, I'll only have to sell these mics for another month because I'm sure the book will be finished soon, while two thieving fuckers fucked around endlessly for an entire year. Now they're suggesting that they've done a huge amount of work and put endless hours in, but simultaneously going, well, actually, I might have been lying about how much I suggested I'd put in. You're like, well, you ended up wasting an entire year minimum after the fact. And then there's been another almost year for me to then claw back another book, basically making my most recent iteration that's about to be released, the second book, if you want to call it that. The first one being purloined by two people who made me delay it, necessitating me flogging microphones. Very frustrating. But like I say, even when there's scenarios where, why are you flogging microphones? Well, because I've been told not to publish a book, because two people can help me with it. But simultaneously, that exact scenario has now been suggested that actually what was happening was I was trying to thieve my own shit from myself. It's like, wow. We're in a position where there's a lot of idiots around that don't recognise what's going on, even when you're like, why do you think I was flogging microphones? My book was done. I kept on saying to my audience, it'll be out next month. And then another 5 months had elapsed with me still flogging more and more and more microphones to keep the mortgage paid.
Now, do you see what was just said there? That's exactly what went down. Oh, well, he wasn't that bad, Nathan, because Adam did offer you a loan if you needed a loan to get you through while they were planning on stealing your book. Don't forget that.
Yeah, when somebody offers you a loan, they stop being a friend and they become your owner.
That's correct.
So Adam was evil enough to even want to put me into debt. So when I'm suggesting that I need to put out a book, they come along and delay the process, forcing me into needing to sell microphones to mitigate for the losses that are not being generated from the book being published while they fucked around endlessly, not doing any work on it and then stealing it, causing yet another year of delay. Their suggestion now is what? Neil?
That can lend you the money to get you through.
Yeah, what an insult.
You know, that's biblical, what you just said, because it says in the Bible that the borrower is slave to the lender. So,
yeah,
I mean, if you offered, hey, I can give you money, that's a different story.
Yeah, my grandma was a missionary, as was my uncle, my mother's brother, until he retired. He ran a massive series of churches. And I was born into a very religious family. Church every Sunday, Bible groups and Bible readings done by my mother that I grew up around. So it's not like I'm unfamiliar with the Bible, Neil. The reason I say that is because generally speaking, when I quote something or associate something with what is essentially just a very useful tool for learning, decency and a good way of being, right? I'm not suggesting that everyone's going to read into the Bible in the way that it's offering them an ability to live a decent life with examples, but that is ultimately all I see it as. So when you've got useful rhetoric to compare to a circumstance, that's the most useful. That's what the Bible's for, right? Or at least that's how I see it.
Yeah. Basic instructions before leaving Earth, if you want to get technical.
Yeah, so Adam wanted to force me into debt. That's not a friend, is it? That's someone evil.
That's correct.
Shocking. And I don't need a loan, I need to get my book published. What's that? You're going to keep it? And you'll give me a loan? What a wanker. I hope he gets hit by a bus.
You went from raised in a church to hope he gets hit by a bus. That's a big reach
exactly.
there, Nathan.
He deserves to get hit by a bus.
Yikes. And if that one misses, there'll be another one along soon after.
Exactly. Don't worry, you'll still be able to catch your bus. Let me know how you act when somebody steals from you.
You don't think I've been stolen from? Or had something stolen from me?
Sound like you got some sympathizers in the house.
I don't think that's what he's saying. I think I take your point. You're saying no amount of being stolen from means you should wish death on your thief. If somebody mugs you, you don't hope that they get run over.
You said you would. That's not wishing death. I'm sure you meant to get hit by a bus where he's in traction for a year.
Yeah, it could be just a little graze. Anything from a graze to death, really.
Yeah, body cast in the hospital for a year. And it still won't be enough penance.
Yes, that was correct. I was actually only hoping he broke a few bones.
It was
metaphorically.
Metaphorically.
It was a toy bus.
No, you're right. That's not very Christian. Whoever said that, you're correct. Neil's had a go at you in my defence, but you are correct.
So are you?
Usually I am.
Who is that anyway? I don't recognize your voice.
Heaven's sake. And yeah, they just get removed from our company. We move forward.
Some parts of the world, you'd lose some fingers.
That's correct. Chop your freaking hand right off.
Yeah, well, their punishment is to constantly have to justify and defend their stolen material by justifying it constantly. No, we didn't steal it. I worked on my own for lengths of time. Cut to the clip. Cut to the tapes they were demanding where he's like, I've only done it in your company. I wouldn't do any work unless you're around because it's your book. End quote, Adam Meakin, thieving bastards. You're like, what's that?
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, well, I just hear this shit on the grapevine. It was what I was told in yesterday's show, that it suggested that, no, I'd done tons of work, just away from the recorded sessions that prove I'm a thieving fucker. Oh, really? What about this little clip where you explicitly state that you haven't done any work unless you're in my company because it's my book? What, maybe he was being sarcastic?
Well, you know how they're going to spin that, Nathan. He's going to spin that like, no, the work we did while we were in the room needed a little extra, so that's what I brought home. But you're still working out of your site when he said he did it.
Which is, you could, at that point, what we've got is two statements. Statement one, told to me when gaslighting me and lying to me just before they stole from me. We have not worked on this book at all unless you were here with your icon. And the reason we haven't done any work on this book outside of your company is specifically because it's your book, Nathan. That's what Adam has said. Fast forward to after he's stolen that exact book, and I did loads of work away from Nathan that he wouldn't have known about because it's my book. Now, those are two completely inconsistent statements. One, I wouldn't work on it unless you were here. I'm loyal while I work on your book. Other statement, I did loads of work on my own at home that nobody got to see because it's my book. All right. You see how those two things are completely opposite of one another? Yeah, there's a reason why these people have been removed from this group. Because they're easily proven liars. Which one's true? Did you never do any work unless you were in my company, as you specifically said? Or were you lying to me? Yeah, I already know you were lying to me. What's that? You were doing work that wouldn't have been on any of the recordings you demanded, because the recordings are actually showing up as you being a lying piece of shit. Yeah, what a shock. Yeah, the recordings show you gaslighting me and lying to me about how I'll earn 10x, how you wouldn't do any work on it unless you're around me because it's mine. Yeah, everything that demonstrates what a thieving, lying scumbag Adam Meakin is. So, what do you want? Me to say, oh yeah, actually, it does make sense that he would tell me he's not doing any work unless I'm around, but it's also true that he was definitely doing the complete opposite of that, because it's okay to just be sarcastic to someone you're lying to and about to thieve from. That's the only way anybody can view it, because that's reality. When someone says one thing and then 6 months later says something that's completely opposite, because their narrative is now different. Their narrative is now, we did loads of work on it, therefore are justified in stealing. You're like, really? Loads of work outside of what you were telling me you would only do in my company? You lying piece of shit, easily proven by the tapes. Yeah? Oh, no, I did work on elsewhere outside of where I'd have been recorded. Why did you tell me that you didn't do that then? Is it because you're a lying piece of shit? There's no way out of this, is there? You know, the bigger their narrative gets, the more lies they are caught in. Did work outside of my company? Why tell me that you didn't? You're a liar, that's why. Simple. Now, the only reason you're saying you did loads of work at home is to justify you stealing the work. Yeah, that's it. So while you told me that you were only doing work for me and my book, you were actually doing work at home for your own benefit. And that's a justified reason for stealing the material that I don't have in my possession and you decided you were going to blackmail me with. I see. I mean, in the world of a deceiver and a liar, you're going to be exposed for deceiving and lying and then have to come up with another lie. Oh, no, the reason I told Nathan I would only do work on his book in his company was because I needed to lie to him about doing all this extra work that I'm telling him I'm not specifically doing, because I knew that I'd want to take ownership of it eventually, and therefore it's justified in lying to him about how much work I'd only do in his company when I'm doing this huge amount of work that happens to be no record of being done. Oh, right, okay, that makes a lot of sense in the world of a liar. Now, I can summarise lies easily. I can keep track of the narratives too. It's what I've done for 12 years on Flat Earth Debate when bullshitters come along and do it for the Sphere. Now we've got it being done about a book I produced that was stolen from me. That I was told, you will only work on this book while you're here because we're loyal to you and it's your book. / this is our book, we are definitely justified in keeping it. I did loads of work away from you. Which is true. Who gives a shit? Definitely one of them can't be. So what's the only truth in this scenario? Adam's a liar, isn't he? What other conclusion can be drawn? None. He's just a liar.
Yeah, and the more and more tapes that do come out, like say one of your Patreons fishes out another one, it's only going to dig it deeper. You can't get around what they've done. It's obvious to a duck, but some people are just persuaded by it. And you see what's done right there? That is, our claim is that you stolen Nathan's book, and that's support of the claim. All right? General Bucktooth Billy?
I don't have to justify anything to Quantum Eraser. I get it. People are telling me that he's demanding this and that and the other. Yeah, I can demand that he sucks my dick and gives me good eye contact while he does it. Is he going to do that, though? No. Well, yeah, you're not the boss of me. I won't be doing anything you ask for. I've dismissed you from my company after you offered assistance as an editor. Then I fired you. You're no longer my editor. You're no longer my friend. You're no longer in any of the groups that I created. What you get to keep is what I taught you how to use OBS and the show that I gifted you after introducing you to this community. That's what Quantum Eraser gets to walk away with, along with my stolen 5th draft that he tried to extort co-authorship with, because he's got a Word document open. Therefore, it's a second book that was worked on outside of the stated lies of Adam that he'd only work on my book with me there, because that's turned into something different. Okay, well, you get to keep that piece of shit. I'm glad you got to keep my 5th draft and turn it into a crap story about a spinster and a crabby fanny. Good for you. It's a pile of shit and will not go down in the annals of history. It'll get quickly forgotten about as a 2-star or 1-star Amazon shit self-release. That's what it is. Shame. You could have turned your filet mignon into a decent meal. You turned it into a shitty burrito with rotten lettuce. Well, that's your prerogative. Do what you like. When I turned my back on them, it no longer was of any consequence what they did in my life or what I did in theirs. Now, I get that they're ranting and raving and demanding things of me like they have some consequence over me. They don't. The only consequence I have over them is to point out the story of reality, and then when I occasionally decide that I want to move forward with publications of material that I've been doing for 12 years, I'll do it when I want to. Not because some arsehole who's stolen from me is making demands of his innocence being proven by material I've not released. All right. Okay. Let's just see all the material of Adam working on his book that is the book that was described as being mine in the material that I have recorded, showing him to be a liar. And you don't actually have any tapes that prove your innocence. You're going to rely on the ones that I've got and haven't released? Yeah, that's crap. Yeah? Go whistle. You're not going to be disproven as a liar. All that the tapes are ever doing, as they do come out, is show that you're a massive fraud, con man, liar that's used your confidence in me to weasel your way into stealing a draft you offered to help with. That's it. Well, that's never going to change. You know, no amount of gaslighting the people around you that the person you've stolen from actually holds the keys to your own innocence. And what are you talking about? But that's, like I say, the delusional feel that they still have some control in an arena that they've been excluded from. Like, no, you were introduced into this arena by me and then you were removed from it by me. What have you got? What you built off the back of me in the meantime, you got to retain that. Good for you. Yeah, keep hold of your OBS, keep hold of your show that I produced and then gave to you as a gift. I hope they do well. Keep hold of the 5th draft you decided that you would try to, and fail to, extort co-authorship with. No, I moved on and cut my losses. That's what I was trying to explain to Sasha earlier. No, if it means that I have to remove you from my life at my financial detriment, I will do so. No problem. Yes, it's cost me 8 months of extra financial hardship on top of the 12 months you'd already added by offering the help and delaying the publication. That's quite a lot of financial hardship. But that's when the con men pounce, when you're at your weakest. Then they might offer you a loan, like Adam, who is essentially evil. There's no other way to describe it. I remember him offering me £500. Why would he be offering me money? Is it just me, or is he now describing the money he offered to loan in a narrative where they're suggesting it's not about money? No, it's about me needing it and them taking advantage of that fact. And then trying to put me into bondage with a loan? What was that I said about a bus? I forget.
Anyway, you know, you gave him that channel. Maybe that's why. He thought he was going to be able to just pull a book from you, too, since you gave him the channel. I mean, that makes sense, right?
What, because I set him up with a YouTube channel and then gave him a fully functional show with an audience?
Yeah, so maybe he thought, like,
I'll have the book too.
A problem.
Yeah, well, shock and awe, he got shown the door, didn't he? You get one where I think you're taking a liberty, demanding super chats. I feed my children with those. No, you can't have the money from the show. But given that you do presentations on it, that's why you're justifying taking the money that I get from producing my show on my channel. When I hit record on software I've learned to use, what I will do is teach you how to use it. Essentially give you a fishing rod so you can catch your own fucking fish. Here you go. This pool has already been baited. That's to say, this show already exists. It's called Ballbusters. I created it. Here you go. I'll teach you how to use this fishing rod. This is OBS. Yeah? Now, this is simultaneously somebody who suggests that the whole world wouldn't exist unless he was there. Narcissists are delusional about their own self-importance in a community that already existed prior to them coming to it. Anyway. I mean, I also don't get, why don't they like the tapes? They were demanding the tapes. We bring out a tape that shows that they've offered to help me with my book, with my name on the book while it's being edited on screen, and then assuring me of the 10x money I'll earn with their help. And then they suddenly don't like the tapes anymore. What gives?
The funny thing is, they thought you released the tapes. They have no clue that that's just one of your Patreons named Mikey who found some stuff and played it. So they think you're just picking and choosing. You didn't let out any tapes.
No, I didn't do anything. I won't be doing anything. No, as Surf Daddy says, I'll be keeping my powder dry. Thank you very much.
Where's that? Anybody got a link to those?
It was one of my Patreons. A guy called Mikey released a tape where Adam's saying during the editing process, how are we going to phrase this? So they're working on a piece of text, editing it, and they can't figure out how to rephrase it. So they say, let's ask the author, Nathan, how should we phrase this? I say you should phrase it thusly. And then they phrase it thusly. That's it. So it's Adam operating in the capacity of an editor, asking me, the author, how I want something phrased as they go through an already in existent book and edit it exactly as was offered, exactly as everyone understood, in my space, this space that I pay for, that they were in after offering their assistance. So it's fairly clear from this clip what the scenario is. What was the response? I was being sarcastic. You're like, yeah. You asked for tapes. Here they are. Someone's gone and got them. Not me. I don't give a shit. I already know you're a thief. I don't have to prove anything.
You can hear the sarcasm in my voice. Listen.
AKA, we can't trust a single word you say, Adam. Yeah, I know. That's why you were dismissed from our group. You can't be trusted. What, you were sarcastic? Oh, right. I'd rather you just piss off and never return. Yeah, we can't trust a word you say then. No worries.
Yeah, no matter what tapes come out, it's going to be exactly how Nathan said it is. They were helping edit a book because they offered to. So any tapes that are going to be put out, that's what you're going to see. So you're going to hear, rather.
Yeah, you're desperate. Go ahead.
What I gather is what they want to hear is you playing video games while they were laboring so hard.
Yeah, your desperate cries for to justify your backstabbing falls by the wayside, and there's a point where you're remembered no more.
They fear the release of Nathan's book.
Nothing's going to change. Them have to justify for the rest of their lives their backstabbing thievery. They can try to spin it all they want. It's just a desperate, failed attempt at gaslighting folks. Where the truth is, yeah, it's Nathan's book, and you guys are removed. You'll be remembered no more. Have a great day. Now we move on to the Earth's measured flat, and we're thankful for each moment that we have.
Well, I think in the final, if it wouldn't have went down that way and everything was done the way they said it was going to be done, I think a lot of that stuff would have been edited. Nathan would have worked in the measured flat throughout that book, and it would have made it a really nice book. Instead, I agree. They turned it into a pile of shit. Old, outdated arguments. What is a book about arguments when we've ended the argument by realizing that it's measured flat? It just takes away any other argument you could. There is no argument. What are you going to argue with, a measurement? Show me how. I'm going to validate a measurement. How does that work?
Come on, Neil, you know, you put the statement of fact into an if statement.
Well, it's just a measurement.
Imperial or metric?
Either one is it's a measurement. Just a measurement. Like if I call down to somebody on a work site and I say, listen, that gymnasium we're doing, I need the dimensions. And the dude calls back on the radio and gives me the dimensions. I don't put that into a if statement. I don't put it into logic. I just say, you sure you checked it twice? Because I'm going to cut the material. And the rule of thumb is measure twice, cut once. Just confirm your measurement. Basically, that's the only thing you're going to get. There is no debate about it.
Did you take into account the bend? I mean the curve.
What curve?
Well,
When I used to measure, when I used to make sheet metal work and you have to fold it up, you have to account for the curve.
Oh, you're talking about the tape measure, like if you got to wrap it around something and take the measurement?
Yeah, because it's longer around the curve. Always got to take into the bends is the real word we used, I suppose, but it's a curve.
Well, when I was doing sheet metal work, my brother does the air conditioning, and we had to measure, when you're putting up the duct system, we would use the cloth tape measure, the material one that would just wrap around tight, pull it tight, so you're not accounting for any bend. Everything's being measured.
Yeah, but if you have to draw it on a flat piece of paper and then fold it up afterwards, you have to account for it on the paper.
I don't understand what you mean.
If you want to make a piece of ducting that's out of a flat sheet of metal that you're going to curl up, then you have to account for the curves and the bends when you're drawing it so that you get the right size sheet of metal. So when you fold it
Oh, yeah, I get you. Yeah, you make it slightly bigger. But you're going to lose a little bit, right?
Or gain it. Well, yeah.
Or gain. It depends on which way you go, yeah. If it's an internal measurement. Right, if the bend is on the inside.
Yep.
I guess you have to lose a little. And if it's and you're making a wrap around the outside, you got to leave a little extra. That's minute, though. But that's what they'll tell us, right? the curve is so minute. I mean, it's not measurable.
So Earth measured flat, the Earth's flat. 10-4.
No. Horizontal distances prove glob. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Right, I'm going to read a bit of my book from the chapter I was talking about on the live show today called The Offing. But you've got two choices, right? Early in the chapter, it's very lowbrow and about people. Later in the chapter, it's very highbrow and about the concepts of the expansion of the known territory. So, which would you like? The lowbrow bit about people or the highbrow bit about the offing? It's in the chapter.
The latter.
Right, okay, that's one vote for highbrow. Highbrow or lowbrow? Lowbrow's better. I want to go lowbrow. About people.
Lowbrow to highbrow?
Which one do you want? Lowbrow or highbrow? People or events and concepts?
We're just going to do one highbrow or lowbrow to highbrow to build a foundation.
Can we get the whole thing?
Just which one do you want?
Low hanging.
Lowbrow.
I'll change my vote. Low hanging.
Change your vote to lowbrow. Right, okay, I'll read that chapter from the lowbrow. I had it queued up as I expected that would be the answer. Although I did influence the end decision. This was thanks to Johnny Bravissimo, a fighter with a string of dojos who had shouted out Nathan Oakley during a broadcast hosted by Cam Quadripoli, where he stated that Nathan Oakley demolishes globe believers, adding, "I love Nathan Oakley," and explained that anyone could join the Flat Earth debate show via my public gateway. I later received texts from Johnny with questions regarding arguments he was engaged in, with requests for advice on how to overcome the arguments, which I dutifully resolved for him in my responses. I later found out that Johnny had acquired my contact information from Mark Wise. Mark Wise was and still is a very hard-working, old-school flat earther, open brackets, anti-glober. As the arguments progressed, I would attempt to educate Mark in the most recent debate points, but unfortunately he was unresponsive to these, as he had aligned with Julian Flip-Flopper, Orson Begsit, and Rob Noenter, open brackets, spherebangers. It was my understanding that these individuals had their own agenda regarding Flat Earth, mostly involving an unrelated claim of the luminiferous ether and its promise they were touting of free energy. It goes on, but I'll stop there.
Very good. This is going to be good, this book.
Well, that's the opener for a chapter that eventually ends up talking about the lands beyond the oceans known and the expansion of the known territories with flat earth prerequisites. So, yeah, it's quite a long chapter, that one. The Offing, it's called.
When was the last time you were in touch with this dojo?
I don't know. Like I say, he just used to occasionally text me, "How'd you overcome this argument?" I'd be like this. I'd be like, "Thanks," and that'd be it. But I can't remember the last time that happened.
So I'm sure with book in hand, you contact him, he's going to be like, "No problem, let's set it up."
Yeah, well, it gives me a reason to at least ask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping for. A justifiable reason to ask. And in certain instances, I'd be like, "You actually feature in this book."
Yeah, and the type of guy he is, he's going to get a kick out of the names and everything. But there's a big, that MMA community, there's a lot of flat earthers in that community. Got a major influence there. A lot of book sales I'm seeing.
It's probably because they're not bullied by Dumbo dweebs. They're like generally quite strong characters. So if you come along and start playing the big I am because you've got a Batman t-shirt on and you're essentially a Sheldon type character, You're not going to be that intimidating to a man that can put you on your ass, right?
It's been in 10 seconds or less.
More power to him. I mean, I would hope their understanding of how flat Earth is based on knowing for sure and without a doubt the Earth is flat, as opposed to just having a belief in it. But I don't know. I don't know of any of the MMA flat Earth believers or knowers. Maybe I'll find out.
Well, that's the whole thing. I don't think he's up to date with that, right? You get him the measurements, and he's going to jump on that.
I hope so. Like I said yesterday, my hope is that someone like that, I won't say who we're talking about because I don't want it to be associated with the fake names that I've actually drawn for these people. If I deliberately associate them, that kind of defeats the purpose. But nevertheless, an individual like that would be informed that, this is your character. I've done it once already, right? As we haven't spoken about this particular character, there's a character who goes by the name of Wakey Wakey, and I contacted him and said, you're in the book, and I'm not exactly complimentary to you. So here is the chunk of text where I talk about you. And I got back a little thumbs up and 100 symbol emoji. In other words, this is fine. I was like, okay, jolly good. And then the conversation continued on a different line. I asked that he didn't publish it. And we went about our day. But like I say, that particular character's had a fake name ascribed to them and their story told. And as I say, it's not necessarily that flattering.
Yeah, but if he got the thumbs up and 100%, then he's cool with it. And the reason why I say that with the fighting and the MMA is because when you're in an MMA match, you're looking to submit the guy as quick as you can, quick as possible. Get him down and tap him out, right? So that's the mentality they have. So you bring him the measurements to end the argument. Oh, he's going to love that.
Yeah, I suppose it is kind of like getting a quick submission, but it also kind of means that there's no need for the fight.
Yeah. You win. The fight's over. Move on to something else.
Well, you never know. It might be more likely the case that these people, like the people we are trying to depart ourselves from, want the fight, want the argument, want to be able to say to somebody, I know something you don't, mentally as opposed to physically. Not I'm superior to you mentally and can put you into submission quickly. I can mentally put you into submission quickly. Might not necessarily be what they want. They might actually want the dance, the fight, the debate.
I see what you're saying, but everything I've seen on him, it doesn't seem that way, It doesn't seem like the guy that wants to load it over you. Open your eyes to it. Hey, look, this is what it is. It's a measurement, and that's it. I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll see. He'll bring Alex Jones the measurements.
You mean Bill Hicks?
Yeah, him too.
Right, I think that's probably my cue to round out. Unless anything else needs to be discussed.
I was just going to ask who Lionel is. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that at the beginning of this whole debacle thing, I tried to go over there and question them because they kind of put out an open challenge to question the events that happened, and they actually tried to block me from entering the room that they're in. But I'm actually a mod on their on that server, the original server, so they couldn't do that. and they were just trying to figure out. It's recorded in another place. They were trying to figure out how to get me out of the room because liars and thieves they can't be questioned. They can give the gusto that they are. Bring any challenge, but in reality, they don't want to be challenged over there.
That's why they never invited me. They never invited me. I was there for every freaking editing session that was ever done during the editing of Nathan's book. So why would they not want to hear from somebody that was there the entire time with them while it was going on? Why would they bring in Brian, who was there a few times, or Flaxy, who came in later for punctuation? Just a question, but they won't. One that tried to get in there, they shut him down. So they only wanted the chosen few that could line up with their bullshit. Can't challenge it, then you won't get in, as you've experienced. Yeah, they're just lying bastards.
And hold on, what's this about rounding out, Nathan? We've got like 50 more points to go through.
What are we up to anyway?
23.
Jeez, you only did one today?
Two.
Yeah, Sasha.
We did the Bart Sibrel cut out from low Earth orbit, flat Earth measurement, and we did lights on the moon from different directions. I like it. I really enjoyed doing this week. I know we haven't got through all 60. We've only got halfway, or less than halfway. And we'll do a couple more tomorrow. But I'm really delighted. Well, if it takes 2-3 weeks to get through the whole list, so be it. I really enjoy editing them out into shorts videos. They are a summary of the Feast of Nonsense. And that's useful. Very useful.
We might be done by Christmas.
Couple more weeks. Just a couple more weeks.
Stay tuned.
That's fine if that's done by Christmas. But let's hope the book's not by Christmas, please.
I anticipate it coming out when the publisher said it would come out. I would, based on him working or factoring in the alterations having slight delays. And I was like, the fact that he incorporated in a certain amount of buffer to have, like, not kowtow to me going, well, let's just get it out today. He just ignored me. Basically was like, no, these things have got to be done and get ticked off and then approved. Admittedly approved by me, and then I've, in the process of doing that, added more delays, like you do. But he factored that in and gave me a rough estimate when I was pestering him. Like, for about a week, I pestered him non-stop, like, what date? And he was like, by the end of the month, he was like, you'll have final approval, or you'll be signing it off on the 22nd. That's what he suggested. This Friday, tomorrow, right? It's 21st day. Yeah, tomorrow. That's when he was suggesting that the final approval would be given, or final sign-off, he called it. And then a week after that, or so, which should be the public release. So if it's 10 days, I'd be surprised. I would hope it's, as opposed to a week or two, I would hope it's in about a week. My estimation. I mean, if it ends up taking 10 days, so be it. If it comes out in 3 days, wonderful. But I don't, having a date is irrelevant. As I keep saying, the hard work starts when it gets released. Anything else?
Just one more thing. I just came across a question. Can you have angles without triangle, yes or no? Yes, angles can be formed by two rays, lines, curves, rotations, or directions. No triangle required. Now, how do you have an angle with curves?
Why? Who cares? Why are you asking this question? Who gives a crap? Why are we asked about triangles?
I just seen him in the debate thing here in one of the chats. I found it interesting. Because angles are two straight lines.
Which can apply to concepts, Neil, whereas it's elevation angles, which are used for Earth's surface.
Yeah, but any angle requires two straight lines. So no, curves don't make angles.
No, I mean, you can have the curve of the protractor you've measured the angle with and describe the degree of the angle with the curve of the protractor with a degree measurement. But that doesn't make a concept put into reality when measuring Earth's surface for a line that forms a base and a line to an object at altitude. That's an altitude angle measurement. Does it need to be triangular? Well, in the case of celestial navigation, yes, it does need to be triangular. It's directly referencing 90 degrees at the zenith point of the star, its ground position, below the star. Between you and that point, there is a baseline, and from that point to the star is a line that would be describable as a triangle. 90 degrees is part of the calculation you'll use after the fact when you minus it from 90 for the triangular value and times by 60 for the distance in nautical miles. So it's key to being able to do celestial navigation when you're calculating for distance over a radial value when measuring an angle to a star with 90 degrees below it. 90 degrees forming the right angle of a right angle triangle, and your vertex forming the other two lines when you take a conception of a drop point from the star you're measuring. That doesn't mean you're measuring for altitude of the star, you're measuring for radial value to give you a distance in geometric terminology to know how far it is from you to the point on the ground at 90 degrees to that star. That's what celestial navigation is in practical application. It requires 90 degrees be below the star and reaching your point where you measure the angle to the star. That's a triangle.
Well said.
Any more for any more? No? No last words? Nobody wants to squeeze them again? I thought there was someone else that wanted to add something. Clearly not. Okay, with that, I'll say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, hitting me up on PayPal, Patreon, smashing the super thanks if you're watching after the fact, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Check out my songs that have just come out on shorts videos or on the long form widescreen video format. And I'll see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If Earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.